Okay, somebody who's following me on TikTok challenged me to do an imaginary creature. I thought instead of that, which is not going to be very creative for you, instead of me doing that, I'd like to take you through work that I did about 10 years ago. I was studying part time, I was studying through UNISA. I never completed the degree, but I did start, and I found it extremely useful in terms of thinking outside of the box. And this was particularly my drawing assignment. I think this was in 2014, my last year of teaching, when I was doing this. I'm going to show you how they take you through creativity and how you develop ideas by following their prompts. This is just this particular method, and also one thing that they did was they encouraged you, to the lecturers, to experiment with different media. And I mean, you can draw. This is drawing, and you could draw with many different materials, even with paint. So this particularly was where I did used ink, and I painted the page with ink, and then I used bleach to write this with. Okay, this is they do have you do research on different artists, two international artists and two South African artists, and you discuss their different. They give you an assignment. The assignment was about, I think, journey. I can't remember what it was, and then you have to investigate these artists, various artists, regarding how they treated the journey. Um, yeah, I played around with different photographs of us traveling across the country, and just my experiences of different materials. At this point in time, what was also very nice is we were traveling along from Johannesburg down to the Cape where I was born and grew up, and then back along the coast. And on the way, I found different objects which I was drawing and so on. I used different media. Okay, it was pencil. I took a tinfoil cup. I drew it white on black paper. Just different shells along the way as we were traveling. And this is soft pastel. It's also a very nice medium to draw with. It's the first time I used it. It was actually loads of fun. And then I found just came across a kettle where we were camping, and drew that. The ink, using ink and drawing the basket, and then I also used some bleach in there. That creates a lovely effect. And experimenting with textures is also very interesting. This is soft pastel again. I really enjoyed that, using soft pastel. And what came out here, I can't remember. And then this is back home. I drew different objects in unusual spots. Like this is a pencil sketch where I did the glass vase standing on a chair, trying to get that transparency effect. And then I've got this Madonna sculpture, wooden sculpture, and I drew it alongside with other objects that I touched on before. And I used charcoal, and I can't remember what I used here, but all kinds of different textures and things that shape. You can actually develop ideas from using these different textures and shapes. Here again, I used the bleach. I hung up the kettles on the washing line, and then I drew it. I took photographs and I sketched that. Here's Madonna again, and these are all part of my journey. I took this Walter Battis drawing and I tried to do something on within his style over here. It's always a good idea also to try and copy another artist. You must always, if you try and publish somebody else's art as your own, that is plagiarism, but you are allowed to copy. If you copy, you must just acknowledge the original artist. Just say that this is after Walter Battis or whatever, if you want to go and display it somewhere. Okay, was a planning for a final work that I had to do, that I wanted to do. And there's also the workshop where they particularly had you experiment with different textures. They had you feel something behind your back, and you had to draw what you felt. which is quite not that easy. It's actually quite difficult to interpret something visual into texture. And this was a continuous blind line drawing of a woman sitting on a chair, and then we had a live model walking up and down a ramp, and we had to draw her while she was walking. And sometimes she would walk fast and sometimes slow, and this is what I was drawing here. And also you'll notice that you draw without really thinking about it, and that is also a good exercise, like I showed you before. Okay, that is my visual diary. Like I said, I encourage you to experiment with different media and try different things if you can, if it's possible at all.